All right. Thank you. Okay, so for this week's topic is provided by Haulate from the Botswana chapter. So the topic is it ethical to restrict population growth as a climate solution in Africa? I repeat, is it ethical to restrict population growth as a climate solution in Africa? So a bit about this topic, it seeks to address, this is from Haulate, it seeks to address whether limited human population growth whether is it a morally acceptable strategy to combat climate change. So we all know we are dealing with climate change, lack of food, these crazy weathers that are going on lately, etc., etc. From this perspective, encouraging smaller families or limiting population growth could be seen as a responsible way to reduce future carbon emissions and protect natural resources. Now, however, there is some concerns about this, like it's violating human rights. It is, especially reproductive rights. Those who wants to have kids, how many kids how many kids a person wants, or whatever. And also, it affects poorer and marginalized communities. Wealthier individuals have a larger carbon footprint. So that's basically the gist of this topic. That's basically like a short summary of that. So yeah. So this week we're going into two teams. We have team number one, which consists of Uganda and Nigeria. They will take the no perspective. So they'll answer this topic as no. And then we have team number two, which consists of Egypt and Rwanda. They will take from the yes perspective. So these are the two teams. So how this is going to work? The two teams are just going to say their points, why they say yes, why they say no. And then after both teams have said their part, I leave it to the audience to say their part too. Is that okay? All right, perfect. Okay, let's start with team number one, Uganda and Nigeria. Please, your perspective on this topic.
Yes, thank you. This is Owili Nathan Komakech from Uganda, and we are against the motion. Is it ethical to restrict population growth as a climate solution? Restricting population growth as a climate change solution sounds intuitive until you realize it is ethically misguided and practically ineffective. First, it violates reproductive autonomy, one of the most fundamental human rights. Climate targets, no matter how noble, do not justify coercing people into having fewer children. History shows us that population control policies often become discriminatory, targeting the poor, women, and minorities. And secondly, it is deeply unjust. Climate change is not driven equally by every person on Earth. A child born in the United States will, on average, have a carbon footprint over 7 times larger than the one born in sub-Saharan Africa. Yet most population restriction proposals fall hardest on low-income communities, the ones who contribute the least to the crisis. That's morally upside down. Third, it is too slow to matter for urgent action. The climate clock is ticking for 2030 and 2050 targets. Reducing births today would only significantly affect emissions decades from now. So we need fast, high impact measures like decarbonizing energy, regulating high consumption lifestyles, and transforming industry, not slow demographic changes like the ones we are trying to put across. And in historical precedents, China's one-child policy that was set between 1979 to 2015 reduced fertility rates but also led to forced abortions, sterilizations, and skewed sex ratios. And many of these targeted were the rural and the poor. Then India's emergency government sterilization campaigns that were put between 1975 to 1977 were coercive with over 8 million procedures, which were disproportionately affecting the low-income men. And also the US and the Puerto Rico widespread sterilization of minority and disabled women without their informed consent in the what 20th century. All these show a clear pattern of population control policies that gravitate towards coercion and discrimination. In short, restricting population growth shifts the moral burden from the most responsible to the least responsible, tramples fundamental rights, and distracts us from the real solutions. That is neither ethical nor a smart policy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you. Um, Let us go to team number 2, Egypt and Rwanda. You are for this topic, so what are your thoughts on this? Why would it be ethical to restrict population growth? Anyone from Rwanda and Egypt? Hello? Hello, Biringiro? I see you are unmuted. Okay. Anyone else from Egypt or Rwanda?
Hello,
Hello, yes?
I am Minnatullah from Egypt. I'd like to join you with my opinion about today's topic. Um, also, it's um, the growth of the population in the whole world, not even not only Africa, is somewhat an important reason of change of climate. But I think it's not ethical to limit the growth of population or put any direct or indirect limit of population growth because this can violate individual right and the reproductive freedom of individuals. Um, 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 I think there is another um, another solutions can be put in uh, uh, for to for study uh, so to find to find the studies to find a solution uh, supporting sustainable development, uh, voluntary family planning, global emission reduction, instead of thinking about putting restriction laws about family plannings or individual rights of reproductive growth.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Birungiri, you're back. Are you back?
Sorry, everyone. I was having issues actually with my laptop. Good evening, everyone. My name is Birungire Emmanuel. I'm from Chapter Rwanda. Actually, I'll be presenting on behalf of my team. I was supposed to be collaborating with the Marwa, but she gave me her apologies, telling me that she's having issues with the connections in her local area, and she won't be able to attend the debate. So I'll be presenting everything with my team. There's another person that is going to be coming. For us on our team, we actually proposing the motion that is it ethical to prevent population growth in Africa. You guys you're gonna allow me to share my screen. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Sure, you can share your screen. Yeah, but
Okay.
please just keep it short and straight to the
Yeah, yeah,
point.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Let's- Oh, okay. First of all, I'll begin with the introduction. See that Africa's rapidly growing population presents significant challenges for sustainable development. This presentation explores this implication of population growth on resources and climate change and discusses ethical measures that we're going to do to cope with this kind of issues. First of all, I'll begin with the problem, then I'll bring up the solutions for this problem. Problem number one is population projections in Africa. See, Africa is expected to experience a substantial population increase over the coming decades. This growth will shape economic, social, and environmental landscapes across the continent, requiring proactive planning and policy response. So, problem number two is that the surge in population intensifies pressure on natural resources such as water, food, and energy. It also contributes to increased greenhouse gas emissions, exacerbating climate change, which risks our continent. As I've already shown in this kind of diagram, I got it from a website actually that I got from Mara. She was supposed to be presenting this, but I can try to show you guys, and you can maybe read through so that you can understand what this is all about. Maybe you can give me a hands up if you are still with me, because I have a short time and have a lot of things to present actually. So the next problem, the next problem is that in unchecked when population is unchecked in urban areas, it accelerates urban sprawl in Africa, expanding cities, demand more energy, transportation, and housing, all increasing emissions. Managing growth through ethical family planning can reduce the carbon footprint and limit chaotic expansions, promoting sustainable urban development. So, meaning that in Africa, there are a lot of problems that we get when we increase the population, and we need to deal with this earlier before the problems become very gigantic. So here are my solutions for the
Um,
problems that I've already
sorry,
stated.
sorry, Bianca. Please get to your point. Please get to your point.
Yeah.
Like, ugh,
So the
we
solutions for the
we have a
problems,
limited time. Please just get to your point.
yeah. So these are the solutions for the problems that I've already stated above. So the solution number one is voluntary family planning measures. So voluntary family planning measures empower individuals to choose smaller families, reducing population pressure. These ethical measures respect personal choice while easing demands on resources, helping to stabilize growth and mitigate climate impact without coercion. The next solution is balancing youth demographics and employment. Africa's youth is rapidly growing, creating both opportunities and risks. Without controlled growth, unemployment and social unrest may arise. Managing population growth supports economic absorption of youth talent, fostering stability and reducing poverty-related emissions. So, in conclusion, ethical restrictions on population growth in Africa can significantly contribute to climate change mitigation, Voluntary family planning and managing youth demographics are critical to balancing resource demands and economic growth, ensuring a livable environment for future generations through responsive and inclusive policies. Thank you so much.
All right, Birengiro, thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was really insightful. Thank you so much. Okay, now we go to the audience. Now that you have seen, now that you have heard the from both sides, what are your thoughts? Anyone would like to share? Whether do they also go for the no perspective or for the yes perspective? What are your thoughts? Okay, yes, go ahead, Mayende.
Okay, thank you so much. Greetings, everyone. My name is Mayende Collins, and I'm representing the No Perspective. I would like to begin with a comment on Biringiro, his submission. He was saying that family planning can reduce carbon footprints, and according to us, the No side, we are saying this family planning cannot reduce the uh, it cannot reduce on the carbon footprints, because the carbon footprint is not about the family planning, but it's about the amount of carbon or gases that are released into the atmosphere by a single person. Family planning or population or limiting or restricting the population might reduce the number of people, but it may not reduce the number of carbon footprint released in the country. Like, what am I trying to say? We are saying, instead of focusing on only maybe restricting population growth, instead of focusing on only family planning, we can bring in other solutions such as poverty alleviation, economic development, and sustainable infrastructure. What will it gain to restrict the population? But when the people, the few who are there, they are poor. These people who are poor, they're going to resort to things like cutting down of trees, poor farming methods, which will still contribute to climate change. So as team negative, we end by saying that instead of focusing on only population restriction, we can also bring in other factors that can help us to manage climate change. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Wait, Birengiro, before you answer, let's okay, to those whose hands are raised, we'll get to you. Let Birengiro answer Mayende first. Then after the answer, Gordon is first, then Haulate, and then Kuihangana is next. Yes. Okay, Birengiro, you have the floor. Please just answer shortly.
So, like how Mayende was saying that actually the humans add to carbon footprint. For me, like family planning, how my opinion on family planning is that when people like, or for instance, maybe we take a good example from China. It's whereby they have good policies whereby people are given incentives that whereby when someone produces fewer children, they are given, for instance, incentives so that they get motivation for producing few children, and whereby how can we as Africans adopt this kind of policies? Like, for instance, here in Africa, maybe if we can have a policy whereby everyone who has like 2 children, they give them maybe like $30 per month as a motivation. I think to be very helpful to the families and to the general public, so that we reduce this kind of population, because the way Africans are actually overproducing children, it's a lot, and so it needs to be curbed right now.
Okay. Thank you, Birengiro. Okay, we have a lot of hands raised. Okay, as I said before, it is Gordon first, then Haulate, then Kuihangana. After him, it is Nelson, and then after Nelson is Good Luck. So, Gordon, you have the floor. Hello, Gordon. Okay, let's move on. Haulate, you have the floor.
Oh, good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to say that the problem with restricting population growth is that it targets the wrong people. The wealthiest 10% of the world are the people who produce far more emissions than billions of the poorest combined. So when you restrict population growth in the world, basically, you are violating their human rights and you are unfairly targeting those vulnerable communities while you are letting off the major polluters off the hook. But at the same breath, I also think that if people are given voluntary education, healthcare, and choice, and not coerced into it, the approach can increase freedom and not limit it. You can actually decide that I'm not going to have kids or I'm going to have one child, such that you reduce the demand of natural resources off of the planet. So basically, reducing or limiting population growth isn't really just about violating rights. When you look at the number of people in the world, the less people you have, the less demand there is on the planet at the same breath. I'm for both, but I firmly believe that we shouldn't be forced into it. If I have a second, the president of Namibia apparently refused that Bill Gates and Melinda Gates try out some contraception here in Africa. The target is the wrong people. People who are emitters, America, Canada, China, those are the people who need to do something, and they should leave us alone as Africans. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, by the way, if you are both, you can also be both in both perspectives. You don't have to be for the yes or for the no. You can be in both perspectives. Thank you, Halate. Kui Hangana, you have the floor. Hello or no? Kui Hangana, are you there? Okay, let's move on. Good luck. You have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we
can
know.
hear you.
All right, admission, I'm still going with the no. I want to speak from the perspective of the family planning that was raised. Are we the cause of uh, climate change in the world? Africa is not the issue. The issue is some of these things are coming from the Western world. If you look at it very well. So you now saying we should reduce our population by introducing family planning. Have we looked at the negative effect of family planning? That is another thing we should look at. So instead of we doing that in Africa, or we, like I said in the last debate that we had, what we do in Africa is bring up other countries' theories, and we are imposing it on our own citizens, expecting it to function. So instead of we doing something like that, what if we provide our own solution? We are not the cause of climate change. We are not the one emitting the gas into the atmosphere. If you check, most of the carbon activities are done by the Western world. So what am I saying in essence? We in Africa, we are not reducing the population is not a problem. So that is just what I have to say for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Weely. Yes, you have the floor.
Okay,
Welcome.
thank you. Uh, I tried to look at some data from the World Bank and Global Carbon Project data. It shows that one American produces 14 to 16 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. Then an African produces 0.8 to 1.2 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. That means each American produces something, the 13 times the difference between themselves and an African. So it means I need to have like almost 13 children to equal the emissions that one child in America produces. So I think our population is not the problem. And the issue of targeting the number or the population of Africa, I think it means they are targeting the wrong people. Thank you.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Thank you for your thoughts. Let's go to Honore. Maybe he's back. Okay. Someone from the yes perspective. You're really losing your case here. So, someone from the yes perspective, please regain yourself, I would say. So, Birengiri, you had your hand up. You are from yes perspective.
So to answer the question, from Good Luck and my friend Mayende from Uganda. So how does like family planning actually reduce climate change? So fewer people mean less demand for energy, food, water, and land. For instance, agriculture and deforestation account to 30% of global emissions, meaning that when family planning comes in, fewer people will need land for expansion, and the farmers, when the farmers are not so many, they will not need a lot of land actually to do to expand their activities. Meaning that when we reduce the number of people consuming the land, we actually, in the end, we're actually reducing the gas emissions. We're actually curbing the climate change effects. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Before we get to you, Mayende, Mr. LH, you have the floor. LH Munango, you have the floor. I
Yes.
will get to you, Honore.
Good evening, ma'am. I
Evening.
will, yes, in my case, I will speak for both. I think, number one, let me start why I think on the other part, yes, there must be a mechanism of balancing our population growth. Why is if you see most of African countries as we speak with higher population number, they don't balance their economy nicely. So we have a high rate of unemployment, especially with the youth. And these are the things that are increasing crime at stake. Because why should the population of the country grow if the country itself cannot reach every hand in that country? So I say it's in a normal way, it's okay to balance the population growth. And on the other side, I would say it's no. Let it be the people's choice on how many kids they want to have. That is because of human dignity and not to deprive their rights. And maybe the countries should empower through education and healthcare, just to educate the people on how they should, or how many kids they should have. Yeah, I think that's my take.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go to Mayende, who who has to respond to Biringiro's comment, and then after that we will go to Honore, then Haulate, then after Haulate is Nelson. Mayende, you have the floor.
Thank you so much for the opportunity once again. Thank you, Biringiro, for the input. I got the point from your submission that when we have few people, we shall have few demands. But I would like to bring to your notice, as my colleague, Dr. Will Nathan has just put across, that in America, one person's carbon footprint is equivalent to around 13 children in Africa. That means that even if we reduce the number of people, it means the problem is not in the number of people, but how much carbon footprint one person emits. So we are saying, instead of you controlling the number of people, because even if people are few, I would like to say that their demands will not be few. According to Kamas, they tell us that money's demands are ever growing day by day. You can find when there's, maybe we said there are a few people, yes, there's one rich man, but you find that rich man has like 5 vehicles. And sometimes those rich people work with a convoy. So you will find one rich person people are few, it is one rich person but has 5 vehicles and they are moving in a convoy, is still is still contributing to the climate change. So our focus is not on reducing the number of people, but on how to come up with other ways of reducing on the amount of carbon footprint of individuals. That's what I would like to put across. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Honore. Okay, I'll get to you, Biringiro. Kuihangana, you have the floor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear
Thank
you.
you. First of all, I would like to explain, to the people who doesn't know what a carbon footprint is. A carbon footprint is the total greenhouse gases, mainly carbon dioxide, a person, a community, or a whole country produces. Yeah, which means that the number of, like, the higher the population of a country, the higher the carbon footprint, and the higher the carbon footprint, the higher the global warming issues rising. So I've been hearing my colleagues saying that in America or in those countries which has higher population than us, African countries, they are the ones who creating a lot of those emissions which are creating the issue we have on the table. But it's true. I understand that. It's true that, well, nations have larger carbon footprints than Africa. Yeah. But Africa cannot ignore its own future. Rapid population growth here will multiply climate pressures locally on food, water, and jobs, regardless of who emits more globally. So ethical population control is not about taking the blame. Yeah. It's about protecting our people and building resilience now instead of suffering later. Look at them now. Of course, they are the one who were creating a lot of those problems. But look at them now. We don't have disasters like what they have. So are we going to wait for the same disasters they have now for them to come to us so that we can start to take measures which we should have been taken before? So my take is we have to act like now because climate change won't wait. If we act now to slow population growth ethically, we protect Africa's people, resources, and future. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Khalati, you have the floor.
Thank you once again. I would also like to add on to what the last speaker was just saying right now. It's not that because we are not getting Hurricane Katrinas or tornadoes, we are not experiencing the effects of climate change. Here in Botswana, for example, there is severe droughts due to climate change. There's lots of deforestation. There is lots of uneven and unequal distribution of rainfall and very high temperatures because of climate change. So basically, what I want to say is that although I am for no, I would also like to just add that population size does directly affect environmental impact, because the more people you have, that means you have greater total demand for food, for water, for energy, and for land as well. This will definitely drive the increased resource extraction. That only it will also lead to increased waste, because also waste production and pollution are also part of what climate change impacts are. So we don't want to only just talk about raising greenhouse gas emissions as the only thing here. There's a lot of resource extraction and there's a lot of increased waste. So while individual footprints may vary, the overall effect of a growing population will compound over time. So this will place a lot of strain on ecosystems. It will accelerate your deforestation. It will intensify the effects of climate change in general. So even with cleaner technologies, when the numbers are too high, it makes it harder to cut down global emissions and to protect the natural resources. So for the yes people, I would just like to add that, but I'm definitely a no. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Khalati. Okay, before I get to Nelson, so based on what Halate said, her points, I would like the two teams to base their answer on what Halate said, and then we will hear from you what you guys have to say. So, Nelson, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. Restricting population growth as a climate solution is a complex issue. So it can be 50-50 because this can limit population growth to help to reduce the greenhouse gases emission and mitigate the impact of climate change. Also, the study have shown that population growth is a significant drive to emission and reducing it. It could be a effective way to address climate change, and it provides access to modern contraceptive and education can help women make informed choices about their reproductive health, which can then reduce population growth rate. And some ethical edge that government have a responsibility to protect the environment and ensure sustainable development, which may involve implementing policies to limit population growth.
Okay. Thank you, Nelson. Okay, from the teams, please. Now I want to hear from you based on the various points Halate said. I would like to hear from the. Let's start with the yes perspective, and then we'll go to the no perspective. So, Honore, you have the floor. Hello.
All right. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go.
Okay. Thank you so much. I would like first to tackle on what Galactic said. She said that in Botswana, if I'm not mistaken, there is uh, a massive drought due to deforestation. That's among the causes she mentioned. And when the population is low, I guess the need for raw materials to use in their living life become less. The need becoming less means that the deforestation issues or that overgrazing issues are going to be reduced. By reducing that, that's how we are reducing the issue of global warming generally. So that also supports the thing I said before that reducing population, especially especially on
Oh, we lost you there, Kuyanga. But oh, we lost you there. Oh, but I think we have heard your thought, your perspective. Thank you for that. Please let us just generalize climate change. So climate change problems, what usually is there for climate change? Droughts, heavy rains, floods, possible tornadoes, strong winds, droughts. Let's generalize the climate change problems and not focus on your country. Let's just generalize. Let's just generalize it, please, from now on. Yeah. Bjerringiro, yes, you are still with the yes perspective, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still with the yes, and we are going to win. So, like, yeah, there is actually a small manuscript that I would like to read for you guys. It's from John Broom. He was an Oxford professor. In 2022, he wrote a manuscript in the Oxford Handbook of Population Ethics. In his chapter, he actually noted that climate change will significantly alter future populations, potentially even leading to human extinction. Broom critiques the common assumption of neutrality, that population changes are ethically neutral, and argues that policymakers must account for population impacts when assessing climate policies. So, in my opinion of this is that the policymakers, or for us who are debating, because for us we can actually we can actually force the policymakers to actually make the changes right now. Is that when the population over exceeds over exceeds the planifications of the policymakers, like as I've already stated it, when people have high demand for the resources, there is going to be an impact on climate. Like for instance, for me, I'll give you a good example of where we live here in Rwanda. Almost all the swamps, all the swampy areas have been cleared. People have built houses. People are building. People are clearing swamps. They're actually setting up. They are setting up hostels. They are setting up clubs, meaning that when the population grows, even the demand for land, for food, it will increase. And when it increases, it will in any way it will impact the climate. For me, I think we need to come to a conclusion that population needs to be capped, and it needs to be capped right now.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the no perspective. Your thoughts? Oh, Willie, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Uh, I'm for the no, and I could say that, of course, restricting population growth, it's hard. The best thing to do, because we know our women are the custodians of reproduction in most cases, and if the women are not educated and they are not empowered, they will of course give birth without control. So the best thing to do, instead of putting all those restrictive measures like sterilization, the contraceptives and what, education is the best thing for the what? Women. And this, the women will now have choice to have these contraceptions, because they will even have informed decisions as they are doing this. And I believe educated women don't produce a lot. So I think education is the best solution. But those restrictive measures that are a must, and that target the poor, they are a no for us.
Okay. Interesting perspective there. For me personally, it should not be a gender thing. You are responsible, like the man and the woman is responsible. You have the right to say no. I don't want to have this many babies or no babies. So I don't want, for me, this is just me. I would rather not base it on the woman thing, because it's not just the women, it's also the guys. So both of us, the men and the women, must be educated. It cannot only be us ladies who's the, I don't know, problem, but it's all of us. It's an all of us problem, and we should be educated enough to say, okay, I'll know when to stop, you know, or I'll have more. But in general, let's just be educated, because I think we all need to be educated with contraceptives, and also when to say no and when to not want babies. So that is just my opinion. I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, or really there. So that is on me. So yeah, but thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Okay, let's go to the audience. Okay, Mayende's hand was raised. No, sorry. It was Gordon. Gordon's hand is raised. So it's Gordon. Then after Gordon is Mayende. Then after Mayende is Abdul Salam.
Hello, I hope you can hear me well
Yes,
because
we can hear you.
network issues on and off.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I'm sorry, I'm going to say some of the things I'm going to talk about. I've seen them. If we look at actually how population has been progressing, and we compare it to how climate has been changing over the years, we shall realize that they are inversely proportional. In other words, population growth does not have a direct, I can call it a direct increase on some of the climate changes that we are seeing. So many years ago, the rate at which people gave birth reduced, but with education, with improvement in the family planning methods that included teaching people on how to space their children and as well as how to use contraceptives, population, the rate at which people are giving birth actually went down. But what are we seeing right now is that even with that, population, I mean, even with that, the climate changes are still escalating. And that is a clear indication that there are things beyond just restricting population that are actually in play that we need to make our primary goals to change. So I've seen these days people are using a lot of contraceptives, people are spacing children. Those years, by the time somebody makes 15 years, already has like 3. By the time she makes 15 or he makes 15, they already have like 6 children. But these days, by the time somebody even makes 40 years, they have like 2. But what is happening to climate, even in this era, is that climate changes are even becoming worse. So it means it is beyond. Yes, there are these things of urbanization, but that means we need to set policies that govern urbanization and how people are actually utilizing resources. We need to change ways we utilize our resources from using trees to uh, renewable energy, for example, using gas so that we do not come up with deforestation strategies. So I think it's way beyond just restricting population because already in the past decades of years, people have cut down the rate at which they are giving birth as a result of how they are becoming educated and the introduction of the different ways to curb high rate of giving birth. But still, we still see a lot of changes in our climate. It is way beyond that. It was an option before, but at the moment, it is not. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so before I get to my end, there is a comment in the chat box, comments on the chat box. So Anora says contraception for what? Reducing the population growth as a question. In a way, maybe that this is just me. I think from the let me see the perspective again. From the no perspective, if I'm not mistaken, they can answer this, the contraception for what, reducing the population growth. Yeah. So thank you, Honore, for sharing. And then Khaulate says, unfortunately, Spiwe, women in the African context do not have a lot of say in
Can
the
I say something about this?
Hello? In a moment, in a moment. Okay, so Khalate says, unfortunately, Sipiwe, women in the African context do not have a lot of say in the reproductive rights. It is the men who decides how big of a family they want. So honestly, women must be educated on contraception more. They are the carriers of the population after all. Okay, fair point, fair point. But also the men, I still stand on that part of the men must also be on contraceptions. Like you cannot have that many kids. And then it comes to that issue of, can you maintain them? You see, but that's a story for another day. Let's deal with the climate change. So yeah, that's just me. Thank you, Khaolate. And then Mayende says, this is the same situation even in Uganda. Women have no say in the number of children they give birth to. Thus, restriction is Thus, restriction only is not enough, let alone not being ethical. So I'm no expert in this, but I think the problem here is we need to change that. We need to change those laws, because it's outdated now. Now we need to change that based on what's going on currently in the world. So thank you for sharing. Okay. So Binguru says, unfortunately, because of time, you cannot share it, unfortunately. Maybe you can just share a short summary of what the video is about, then that would be fine. But the video thing, because of time, it won't be possible. Okay. Okay. So Anora says urbanization has to be controlled how? By creating a clear way of controlling population. Isn't that right? Okay. Thank you for sharing. Okay, before I get to the next comment, Mayenda, you have the floor.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Today's debate is we are looking at we are not saying, as the no perspective, we are not saying that restricting population growth is not a climate solution, but our concern is on how ethical is it. I would like to draw us back to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It states that is Article 16 that everyone has the right to marry and found a family. And if everyone has the right to marry and found a family, how would you intrude on somebody's right and say, you know what, you've married, you have a family, but we are saying don't have more than don't have more than 2 children, because we are looking at this restriction not only as family planning, but we also have restrictions whereby the government can come in and say, you know what, we are coming up with an aspect of saying that do not give more than two do not give birth more than 2 children. So we are saying, yes, restricting population growth is a solution to climate change, but how ethical is it? According to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it means that if we bring in this, if we are to bring into place this rule of restricting population growth, we shall be intruding on human rights, whereby we are intruding on somebody's right to marry and found a family, whereby you are free to, in your family, you are free to make decisions on yourself. So instead of restricting people's population, we are, as the no perspective, we are saying, let us focus on these alternatives. One, let us focus on renewable energy transition like solar, wind, and geothermal. Let us focus on sustainable agriculture use and land use. Like, for example, here in Uganda, agriculture is the backbone of Uganda's economy. Now, instead of restricting the population growth, let us see how to educate people to sustainably use agriculture and the land. And also, lastly, I would like to say that our points as the no perspective still stand, and I encourage all of us to take this perspective. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, we go to good luck, and then after good luck, we go to Biringiro. After Biringiro, we go to Kuihangana. Then we go to the text in the chat box, and then concluding thoughts. Okay.
All right, so
You have the floor.
okay, thank you very much. I'm still standing with the no. You know that study have shown that African youth are, I think, one of the thriving youth in the world. Let's leave the aspect of technology and the rest. And if you look at it, this technology that they are talking about, AI and the rest of them, if you go and check the back end designers, you see that most of them have little atom of African youth in them. We don't need to look at the population, because if we focus on reducing population, we shy out from the main issue. Before now, our forefathers then, you see some of them married 6 wives, 7 wives, and we see one man is having 17 children. But then and there, they don't even have issue of climate change. Why? Because they focused more on agriculture. Reduction in population is not even the problem. The problem is, one, the carbon emission that companies are always doing, emitting into the atmosphere. So reduction in population is not the problem. The problem is fight for who are emitting carbon into the atmosphere. Who are building structures where water is supposed to pass through. I don't know if you get me. Because if you look at the way our citizens or due to development or industrialization, you will see somebody the way they do it in Nigeria. They go to where there is sea. They now set up a structure in there. So all these things are what we are supposed to look into, not the population. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck. Biringiro, you have the floor.
Thank you, Sifiwe. So the video I wanted to show you guys has the title of How Population Growth Impacts the Planet. It is from the Australian Institute of Science. It actually explores the effects of rapid population growth on resources, environment, and sustainability. So majorly, they try to discuss the challenges like food security, urbanization, and climate change, emphasizing the need for sustainable practices to balance the need for resources by curbing population growth. The keyword here is curbing population growth. You see, this is an institute well recognized, curbing population growth. So, guys, please let's reach an agreement whereby, for me, I agree with Mayende saying that there are other measures that can be tapped into by, maybe, for instance, encouraging massive education to the public, but we need to curb the population. That's the main idea here, curbing the population. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At the end of this, we must come to a conclusion. You are right, Biengiro. Thank you for your submission. Okay, Honore, you have the floor.
All right,
Hello.
I'm here.
Okay,
Hello.
go for it. Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, thank you, sir. So, as the topic was saying, we were arguing on how ethical population growth is in controlling the climate solutions. Yeah. So I might say ethical population growth control is actually a powerful tool in the fight against global warming, provided it is based on choice, not cautions. Yeah, by giving people universal access to family planning, quality education, and empowering women and men to decide the size of their families, we naturally slow population growth. We are slowing population growth. Yeah. So this has actually three major climate benefits. First, it lowers future total carbon emissions generally. The second is it reduces pressure on water, land, and food systems and gives governments more resources to invest in renewable energy and climate adaptation, as my colleagues have said. It also prevents overcrowding in cities, protect forests and biodiversity, like the example which have been provided in Botswana, and those are vital carbon absorbers. Yeah, they also lowers the risk of climate-driven conflicts. While maybe richer nations must cut their massive carbon footprints, Africa benefits by preparing for a sustainable future. Because if the disasters affecting them right now are the ones affecting us in the future, I'm not sure that we'll be able to fight uh, those kind of disasters. So avoiding the mistakes of overconsumption and uncontrolled growth is actually an approach, a very good approach, which is ethical because it safeguards rights while protecting the planet for generations to come. There's also another thing. I don't remember who said that. I have to go back to chats. Mayende. He's saying that in Uganda or any other part of the continent, as Gaolafe said, that women has no say in number of children they give birth to. Gaolafe said women in Africa context do not have a lot of say in their reproductive rights. It is the men who decide how big of a family they want. So, Sifira, on this, I really, really agree with you because urbanization has to be controlled. Yeah, any means possible. We have to control that. Yeah. So
if the men are the ones deciding how big the family can be here in Africa, they are also the ones to be the first to be educated, even more than how women are. Because even though it is not a good culture that men are the ones controlling how family growth has to be, because I believe that when you're married to someone, you have to decide on everything, especially when that thing is going to affect the whole family. So in my understanding, in my perspective, if the culture in Africa is that the men are the one who are deciding, they should be the one to be educated. Educated to what? Educated for what? Educated on how to control the growth of their family, which brings us back to what we are talking about as a topic. We have to control how the population grow, and by to control how population grow as a whole continent, we have to first control how the family, individual families, grow. Because if a certain family controls how their family is growing, number of children they are going to have, what they are consuming, that's how population in general is going to be controlled. By controlling that, I am very sure that the issue we have on the table is going to be reduced. Because agree with me or not, we are the ones causing the issue. Yeah. So we are going to be the one to control how the issue will be resolved. And controlling the population growth is the first foremost step to control how the climate changes solutions are going to be implemented. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. On a personal level, I agree with you, Honora. That's the point I was trying to say. If the men are in charge of the household, then they should be educated first, then the ladies, So that's just me. So thank you, Honora. Okay, so we have some comments in the chat box. So Halate says our African culture is restrictive on women's reproductive rights. Okay, yeah, in some places, yes, that is unfortunately the case, and that should be changed. Thank you for sharing. So Mayende says urbanization can be improved through improving urban and transport infrastructure, not only the population. So in other words, like improving housing, giving like providing a suitable land for housing, yeah, maybe that can work. That can be an option. So yeah, thank you, Mayende. Owili says also, so Owili agrees with Haulate's comment. Yes, that's the point I was driving. Thank you, Haulate. Women have limited say in reproduction unless they're educated. So in general, the ladies needs to be educated in reproduction and the do's and don'ts, the yes and the no's of the reproduction. Thank you, Owili. Um, Honore says, actually, since the men are the ones deciding here in Africa, they're the ones to be educated even more than how women are. Okay, so he's just raising that point, the point he said earlier. Thank you, Honore. Nelly T says, on the other hand, is it ethical to have children you lack the capacity to take care of? Ooh, interesting. That's a story for another day, but that is one to think about. That also relates to like climate change and the more population. So that's an interesting take. That will be a debate for another day. Thank you for sharing. Mayende says, is curbing ethical? And okay. And then Nelly T says, men are educated on reproduction. They do not implement that education because pregnancy and raising children does not directly affect them. Hmm. Again, this is also for the topic that you raised here. Is it ethical to have children you lack the capacity to take care of? So that might be suitable for your topic that you raised. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Okay, Biengiro says, furthermore, there are three arguments in favor of population policies. There are policies that enhance choices such as education, family planning, and healthcare. Smaller families can be offered incentives. Consumption patterns can be addressed to reduce it in wealthy nations. Oh, sorry. And consumption patterns can be addressed to reduce it in wealthy nations. Okay. Interesting points there. That would be for the yes perspective. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And then lastly, from Mayende, he says, good thing you have wealthy nations, as Good Luck said. We are picking all these from outside Africa. Let's come up with our own solution. So this is a reply to what Good Luck said about we must create our own solutions and not always focus on the Western countries. So yeah, thank you, Mayende. Okay, so now we have come to the part of the debate where we do concluding thoughts. So this is where you just say your concluding thoughts on the perspective, and then after that, maybe a one solution that we can all agree on with regards to this topic. So I will start with the team number one, the no perspective, your concluding thoughts. And then after that, I'll go to team number two, the yes perspective, your concluding thoughts. So anyone from Uganda or Nigeria, please, your concluding thoughts. I need just one, yeah, one representative from each team. What are your concluding thoughts? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you so much once again for this opportunity. As our main argument is that we are not opposing limiting the population growth, but we are looking at how ethical is it, and we are saying instead of focusing on restricting population growth, we can use the key alternatives that we have put across. That is one, poverty elevation, because if people are poor, they will resort to any means to be able to survive, and this will contribute to climate change. We are saying let us use renewable energy such as solar, wind, geothermal. Let us look at sustainable agriculture and land use, because even if we have limited or we have restricted the population, but when that limited or that lower population is not well sensitized about sustainable agriculture and land use, it will all be in vain. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, team no. Thank you. Someone from the team yes, from team yes.
Thank you so much. In our concluding remarks, I would like first of all to thank our opposers, the no people. We actually we agreed with some of your points, but basically we are still on the yes side. So on our concluding remarks, we want to say that what we're going to do, we are going to see an Africa whereby people are educated, regardless of the sex, the male, the females are all educated equally. And by doing that, we're actually creating a future of Africans whereby people will be having knowledge to do with the population. Because when you educate the young people, you're actually creating a future for Africa. So what we're going to do, we're going to educate the people, and we shall also keep on encouraging people to produce children that they are going to be able to cater for. Because producing 10 children and you take two children on to school and the rest they just stay at home, it's useless. We need to produce children that we are going to cater for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so now we have the concluding thoughts of both teams. Would anyone like to share their final thoughts? Someone, please, someone not from the team, any, like someone outside of the team, would you like to share your thoughts? Okay, go ahead, Khaolate.
Yes, I want to just say that as Africans, we must strive to have a sustainable Africa that is going to cater for our needs and the needs of our children and their children. So if it means that we're going to curb, like somebody said, population growth, then let it be done in a manner that is ethical. And we must also include other aspects of curbing climate change effects such as solar and wind energy and all of the other things that we mentioned in today's debate. Let it be a collective effort by everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, so Nelly T responds by saying, curbing population is more of a co-solution to solving climate change, making it ethical to implement. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, so with regards to this topic, here is a way forward for both perspectives. Like, this is just an option. How about we do, out of all the points raised from both teams, think the family planning is needed also. Both genders needs to be educated on their reproductive rights. We all need to learn about the dangers of climate change and what we can do about it for not only us, but also for our future generations, so that they can also learn from us how to combat climate change. And then also also involve the government into this. Government must find ways to keep up, I should say, keep up with the population growth in the country. They must always find ways to provide housing, make sure there's enough food, there's enough water, they clean up the waste, etc., etc. So it all lies on the government too, to also make measures of the increasing population, because eventually a country's population will increase, you know. So can we agree on these 4 points that I said from the yes and no perspectives? Okay, Khalate says yes, Mayende says yes. Okay, Biengiro says yes. Okay, so most of you agree with what I said, and that could be a solution. That could be like the closing conclusion, I would say. Okay, before I close off, anyone else would like to share their thoughts on this topic? Maybe they'd also want to provide solutions or something like that. Okay, there is none. Okay, so I think we have come to the end. If there's nothing, if there is no one who would like to, there's no one's hands raised, then I guess we can close off the debate. Good luck. I think you can stop recording. So, okay, thank you guys for